Before this story begins, do me a small favor. If you believe courage can come from the most unexpected places, tap like, and if you enjoy powerful stories that restore faith in humanity, subscribe now. Stay till the end, because what looks like a simple walk with a dog will turn into a moment that changes every life involved. Everyone on Maple Avenue noticed the man with the dog. Not because he was important, or loud, or impressive, but because he wasn't. He walked every morning at the same hour, head slightly lowered, jacket a little too worn at the elbows, holding the leash of a large German shepherd with a calm, disciplined stride. The dog moved like a shadow beside him, alert but controlled, eyes always scanning, ears flicking at every sound. People whispered about the dog more than the man. Some crossed the street. Some smiled nervously. Others laughed. Especially the CEO. Richard Hale had built an empire from glass offices and sharp words. His company towered over the city, and so did his ego. He had recently bought a luxury penthouse overlooking Maple Avenue, and from his balcony every morning, he watched the world like it owed him something. That morning, sipping imported coffee, he noticed the man and the dog again. The dog paused, sat instantly at a hand signal. Perfect obedience. Richard smirked. Overtrained mutt, he muttered to his assistant, who stood nearby with a tablet. And the guy, looks like he's pretending to be important. Probably wants attention. A few days later, Richard encountered them up close. The man had stopped outside a cafe, tying the dog's leash to a post. Richard, in a tailored coat worth more than the man's monthly rent, brushed past and laughed. "What are you training him for?" Richard said loudly. "Parades. Or are you hoping someone mistakes you for law enforcement?" The man looked up calmly. His eyes were steady, not angry, not ashamed. "Just tired." "He's trained to protect," he replied softly. Richard scoffed. "From what? Life." The man said nothing more. He untied the leash, gave the dog a short command, and walked away. The dog didn't look back, but Richard felt, for just a second, like it had seen straight through him. What Richard didn't know was that the man, Daniel, had once worn a uniform that meant something. Years ago, he had served in a special unit overseas. He had trained dogs for search, rescue, and combat. He had lost friends. He had lost his wife in a car accident while he was deployed. And when he came home, broken but alive, the world didn't clap. It moved on. The only one who stayed was Max, the dog he had personally trained, the one deemed too intense to be reassigned. Max wasn't just a dog. He was memory, loyalty, and purpose wrapped in fur and discipline. Daniel now worked nights as a warehouse guard. Days were for walking, breathing, surviving. He didn't explain himself anymore. People didn't really want explanations. Then came the afternoon everything changed. Maple Avenue was crowded. A charity event filled the street with tents, music, and laughter. Richard Hale was the guest of honor, cameras following his every step. He shook hands, smiled for photos, and gave a speech about success, discipline, and earning your place in the world. Daniel and Max were walking on the far side of the street, about to turn back home. Max suddenly slowed. His ears lifted. His body stiffened, not fear, not excitement. Focus. Daniel felt it immediately. He followed Max's gaze to a man pushing through the crowd, hoodie pulled tight, hand buried inside his jacket. The man's walk was wrong. Too fast. Too purposeful. Daniel's breath caught. He whispered a command under his breath. Max shifted closer to his leg. At the same moment, the armed man pulled out a gun. Screams ripped through the air. People scattered. Cameras dropped. Richard froze on stage, his world of control shattering in a second. The gunman moved straight toward the platform. Security panicked. Someone yelled. Someone fell. And then Max broke free. Not wildly. Not barking. He moved like a missile released with precision. Daniel ran after him, shouting commands that cut through the chaos. The gunman barely had time to turn. Max launched, knocking the weapon from his hand, clamping onto his arm with controlled force. The man screamed, collapsing under the dog's weight. Daniel reached them in seconds, pinning the attacker, disarming him fully. Police arrived moments later. Sirens, shouts, handcuffs.